How to improve your gameplay and graphic performance on Wuthering Waves for this new version. So Wuthering Waves mobile optimization is still an absolute disaster, and it is getting worse and worse after each new version and patches. And let's be clear, when I say a disaster, I mean even if you have the highest recommended settings requirement, even if you have the latest phones and chips on the market with 12 GB of RAM, the frame rate is still dropping badly under 30 frames per second with an average of 20 frames per second during the fights. And I have gathered thousands of feedbacks. You can look back at my videos. I did many videos for each pack for the setting of Wuthering Waves from my viewers who share the devices. A lot of them have the latest chip on the market and the game is still lagging. So if there are any blind fine boys here today, please don't come over the comment section with a generic statement in saying that it is only because people have outdated devices. It is wrong. And also, it won't help at all because the production needs to wake up, as their mobile worldwide revenue has been tanking very bad for this exact reason. Of course, your device must meet at least the minimum setting requirements, and I'm going to share once again the bare minimum settings you need in order to run the game at 60 frames per second and have a decent graphic and gameplay performance for this new version. And by the way, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if the content is helping you in your mobile adventures. I'm taking time to test mobile games across new and old devices to help players, and I do also publish the latest mobile game reviews in depth like Zenless Zone Zero, just to tell you if it is worth playing or not on your mobile, so feel free to check it out. And don't forget to share your device model in details in the comment section below if you need some help. So for today is the updated mobile setting recommendation following few changes the developer have made, like the sensitivity, the addition also of few setting features. But first I would like to thank all of you who shared your recommendation in our past videos. It has helped so many viewers and myself in trying out different settings for different devices. So I would like to start in sharing again the minimum setting requirement for any mobile that you should take in consideration, because many of you have different systems and brands. So let's have a look. So here you can see this is a table, and you can put on pause. You have the minimum requirement for mobile Android and mobile iOS. So here you can see, for example, Android, you need minimum a Snapdragon 835 or MediaTek G7172 processors, or you need an equivalent. So please check online, check your spec, you put your brand name of your phone, you check online, and you put equivalent if you have another brand of the Snapdragon, and to find out if you can meet those. Same here for the mobile iOS. Actually, it's just by phone, so the iPhone 11. Now I would like to say for this minimum requirement, before I was able, for example, on my iPhone 11 to run the game at 60 frames per second, in doing few tips and tricks in the settings and have a decent experience. Now it is not possible anymore. Unfortunately, you are going to likely run the game at 30 frames per second. Now on the right side, this is a recommended requirement. So here, after my testing, just to make it short, you can run the game with 60 frames per second. Now a few additional tips here to avoid the overheating of your device and also lagging. Number one, please check your device can handle 60 frames per second. Number two, go in your phone settings and try to find out and check the monitor refresh rate, and it must be at 60 Hz, not below or not above if you are playing at 60 frames per second. Both should match. Why? I'm saying this because a lot of you guys have phones who have default setting of 90 Hz or 120 Hz. And if you don't change that, your monitor refresh rate is trying to fetch 90 or 120 frames per second, but there are only 60 frames per second. So it is going to contribute to your phone overheating and lagging. Number three, have at least 20 gig. They say 12 gig. No, have at least 20 gig of free storage space on your device. Number four, please close all the background application you have when you play the game. And one additional tips here is, it's summertime, right? You need to play in a cool environment. You need to cool down your device if it's overheating. So please ensure that, you are not outside on the beach, under a tree with 30 degrees. No, it won't work, right? And also what I can recommend, I have an external cooler that I fix on my phone. Those are pretty good in my experience. So for today's video, I'm going to share two different settings. The first one is for any of you who fall into the category of the minimum requirements. Here you can look back at the table. And the second one is for the one who have the recommended requirement devices. So let's get started. First, the volume, we don't care. Number 2 here. So this is for the minimum requirement devices. So graphic quality, you put on medium, resolution low. After, for the brightness, you can adjust it. Here you need to pull it down, otherwise the game, it's really not great in terms of contrast. This is a personal preference, you do totally what you want. After we go to the frame rate, it's 60 frames per second as mentioned in the video. After you have the special effect quality, you put it on medium. The FSR, you put it off. The shadow quality, you put it on medium. The LOD, you put it on low. The anti-aliasing, very important, turn this off. It's really a killer in this game, they have to optimize this. And after you have the bloom, put it on. It gives back some nice, light glare reflection from the sun, etc., from some surfaces. After you have the crowd density, I always put it on low. And finally, the new feature, heat effect, whatever, I put it on. So heat effects based on enemy materials. So this is what works the best of all across all my devices who belong into the minimum requirements. And here for the second setting, so this is for the users who have the recommended requirements device. You can check back the table. You need a Snapdragon Gen 1 Plus, Gen 1.2, Gen 3 processors. You can try if you are lowest a little bit, it's totally up to you, or if you have also an iPhone 13 and above. So this is pretty simple and actually it works. You can see on the top right, my bar, it's totally full. The current set load is, they say overload, but actually this is what works best. And as you can see here, graphic quality to the highest, advanced, resolution high, the brightness is the same, frame rate 60, special effect quality high, FSR on, the shadow quality ultra high, the LOD high, the anti-aliasing is off. After the bloom is on, the crowd density, I always put it on low. And finally, the last feature, heat effects, is on. And here the only thing I turn off, it's the anti-aliasing. So clearly, there is an issue with this, in the meaning of if you play with the recommended requirements device, you are looking at this video, do not try to put the bare minimum requirement because you are underusing your hardware. And now let's continue for the setting here. Let's finish it for the camera sensitivity. So actually they fix it pretty well. Before it was, early on it was too stiff, after it was too sensitive, and now it's just perfect. So you can see for yourself, I keep all the view sensitivity to 50, it's totally fine. The camera shutter intensity, this, it's totally up to you. You can put it low if you want to. I like it low because I don't care. After, for the regular camera distance and the combat camera distance, actually they did a pretty good job. So now they brought it back closer to the character and not too close like the first version where you could not see everything, you could just see your back on the mobile devices. So this is pretty good. Don't forget you can push this out depending your screen size if you want to have more depth of view around you. After, there is the camera reset. So here normally I like to put it on, but the issue is the camera is going, when you put this on, it's just an absolute disaster. And by default setting, this time they put it off. So it really means they know that it sucks. I mean, if you put this on, every time you are fighting, a group of mob, the camera is just turning all around you. It's just a mess, to be honest with you. After you have the moving camera correction, I always put this on, the combat camera correction also as well. I put it on. And after the assisted aiming, you need it on if you play on mobile. There is no brainer here. And after, for the input settings, so here same, they put a lock on priority. So you have the movement direction. After you have the camera direction, and after you have the distance. I like the movement direction because most of the time, when you are fighting on the mobile device, you have one hand on the controller, the other hand on the button to fight. You don't have time to swipe the camera on the top of it. So I recommend to use the movement direction. It's pretty good. And finally, for the motion control sensitivity, they did a pretty good job here, and I let it at 0.3. And for the last section for the review today is the action section, where you find the custom key binds. So here you can click on go setting. A lot of players do not know about it, but you can resize, you can put some transparency, you can move the button around as you want to. It's very helpful, so never forget about this. And finally, you have the joystick mode. So here you have static or dynamic. Dynamic you can start anywhere, from an area on the bottom left of your phone. When you are playing, the joystick will appear. I do not recommend it. I prefer to have a static joystick because the dynamic, once again, it's pretty hard on the screen depending the screen size you have, and sometimes it gets very messy. There is a little delay at the moment you put your thumbs on, it activates kind of. You see your character start to move in a direction you don't want him to. So I prefer static. In my opinion, it works the best. And if I did any mistake or you have any advices to bring, please feel free to mention it in the comment section below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Remember to destroy that like button and hit that bell, turn on this notification to receive more content and support the channel. And as usual, I wish you all to be safe, to be well, and until the next, stay tuned everybody.